welcome to Solve This Murder. I'm your detective, Bill.
And I'm your crime scene criminal and witnesses, Dani. We're on part 3 of 5 Little Pigs.
In part 2, I got my list of the 5 little pigs, the 5 witnesses that were there on the day.
We also discovered that one of those witnesses, Meredith Blake, was the owner of the poison used to kill Amias.
I also went to talk to another of these little pigs, Cecilia Williams, the governess, who said of Carolyn that she knows she did it. All right, okay. Before I talk to Cecilia Williams, to get further into this, I know she had the last line in the last episode. It was a whole big thing.
It was really important.
It has been a long time since we recorded that episode, and also my notes are so terribly strewn throughout this book. I have mixed in escape rooms from Escape This Podcast.
We've got 3 different podcasts of notes in here.
Things from a Patreon project that we're working on, a whole bunch of stuff. So if you hear a lot of flicking and flockering through pages, it's because I'm bad at my job. All right. I hope you all understand where we are now. I need to talk to Cecilia Williams. I'm just going to listen to what she says. I think I'll remember enough about stuff. I don't think I have to consult my notes. Let's just see what happens. I turn to Cecilia Williams. I say, sorry. Also, canonically, I remember from the last episode, I said I was an ice cream maker by trade. I don't know where that came from. Ms. Williams. I'll keep it on the Ms.
Thank you.
Thank you. You say you know she did it. You saw her kill her husband?
No, I wouldn't say that.
But you know she did it.
Of course. Not that I blame her, not that anyone would blame her. See, I don't know quite what your plan is for uncovering all of this, but your plan is to be honest to the girl. Yes? To Carla?
If I find out that her mother did the deed, I am going to tell the daughter exactly that. She wants the truth, and if she can't handle the truth, I'll give her the truth anyway.
Well, then what you should give her is the truth of the context.
Give me the truth of the context. My understanding, Amias, bit of an angry guy, also loved affairs, and also was probably having an affair with the girl he was painting. Is this the context? Give me any new context you might have, Cecilia.
Amias was, I don't want to be generalizing, but to an extent like all men, spoiled. He thought that all of everyone's attention should revolve around him at all times, and fame only fed into that. It was an excuse for any bad behavior. You see this with famous people, don't you? Any sort of loose living. It's their artistic temperament, isn't it?
No, I understand, yeah.
It's outrageous, and quite frankly, no woman should put up with that sort of behavior. And he deserved what he got. I'm glad that it doesn't sound like Carla has taken after her father at all. Look, I had heard of him before I was hired, but I had never met him. And part of me wishes it had stayed that way.
Oh, dang, I'm so sorry. He seemed to be a bit cheated on his wife a bit. Was he bad to you personally as well?
Well, I believe I remember this from a note he once wrote, where he described me as a sour-faced hag who hated him like poison. Was it a lie? Who can say?
I look at her face. Is it sour?
Not anymore, but he's dead now.
Fair enough.
Was he bad to me? He had fits and moods. He could be bad to anyone and everyone around him. Not Angela. He was fond of Angela, although they would also have their rows.
Oh my gosh, please pause. Please stop telling me a thing. I'm sorry, everyone. Notes. Who the hell is Angela? Angela Warren, Carolyn's sister. I'm back on.
Yes.
She was 15 at the time.
Correct.
I remember facts. Okay. Celia. Or Cecilia?
Cecilia.
Celia for short?
No.
Cece?
Ugh.
Cece?
I don't like you.
You're a sour-faced hag. I'm with him. I stand with Amias. Cecilia, you're saying that you know Carolyn must have done it because she was so put upon. Of course she did it, but it sounds like everybody was put upon and everyone had equal motive in this case. Sounds like you were a sour-faced hag who hated him like poison, the very thing you used to kill him.
Do I believe that there is more than one person who would be relieved in some way that he died? Certainly.
So why do you know that Carolyn did it?
Would you like me to tell you everything
Nah.
that I have?
I don't need it. It's a cold case. I'll probably find the info somewhere else. Yes, please, tell me.
After lunchtime, on the day that everything happened,
Mm-hmm.
Carolyn went down to take a beer to Amias.
Ah, this infamous beer I've heard so much about. Please, continue.
There's nothing special about it. It was just cold. I, meanwhile, was to go and search for a jacket that Angela had left lying somewhere on the grounds during her gallivanting of the morning. She was wont to do that sort of thing.
Were you hired to look after Angela or the young little baby babe?
No, not Carla. No,
You didn't look after Carla. You were Angela's governess, not
Correct.
Carla's nanny.
That's absolutely right.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. I'm back on board. Continue.
Now, where I was going to search happened to correspond to the path to the Battery Garden where Amias was painting.
Okay.
So Carolyn and I walked together for a time, and then we split when we reached the Battery Garden. I continued walking, but only got a very short way before I heard Carolyn scream. So I ran back.
Okay. This was her finding the body.
Correct.
Interesting. All right.
And Amias, he was there. I remember it very vividly. He was sprawled out on a bench near his easel. He apparently had been dead for quite some time. I don't remember precisely, but I want to say maybe an hour.
Okay.
And Carolyn just stood there, and she was dazed. Eventually, she got out the words to ask me to phone for the doctor. I went halfway up the path to do so, found Mr. Meredith Blake. You know him?
Yeah, poison guy. Loves poisons.
I suppose that's...
Loves poisons, hates Amias. Probably.
I wouldn't say... I wouldn't... Okay.
King of poisons. Murderer of all. Sure.
Well,
Meredith, yeah.
I met him on the path, and I forwarded the message to him. I told him to return to the house, phone for a doctor, so that I could go back and be with Carolyn.
Oh, all right. Oh, this feels like I'm getting to the crux of the matter.
All of this, told at the inquest, I told at the court. The one part that I omitted because, quite frankly, it didn't matter. It didn't matter at this stage.
Oh, I think I know what you're about to tell me, but go on. I'm so excited for this.
I saw Carolyn take out her handkerchief and wipe off a beer bottle and then press Amias' hand against it.
You little idiot. You didn't tell anybody this?
No, it didn't matter. She was...
This matters so much! You fool. You've
Excuse
damned your
me?
friend to an early grave.
What?
Provided she's your friend. The poison, you simpleton, you sour-faced hag, was not in the bottle. The poison, the whatever, whoever, I don't know where I got this fact, but someone gave me this fact that the poison wasn't in the bottle. If Carolyn was wiping off his hand and putting his fingerprints on the bottle as a sort of obscuring of the evidence, then she did not know where the poison actually was. She assumed the poison was in the bottle and was trying to cover for someone else that she thought did it. You fool! This is ironclad proof that she was not the one who killed Amias.
I find this specious, and you're trying to poke holes in a case from 16 years ago. How do you know that they didn't bungle one of their tests on the bottle 16 years ago and there wasn't poison in it? They couldn't even figure out what happened with that other glass.
Sorry, other glass?
Yes. What? Sorry, that sort of came out as, a repressed, annoyed thought. What was another? There was some smashed glass somewhere outside the Battery Garden, and they couldn't figure out what it was from.
Okay, hold on. Stop existing for a second, Cecilia. Put yourself in stasis. All right, thank you. All right, hold on. I'm gonna make notes, everybody. This is case-cracking information. First of all, Carolyn was messing with the bottle. Now, I already figured out. I'm going back to what I was already saying before. We know that the poison that killed him was in his glass, his drinking glass, right? That's where the poison was, not in the bottle, even though the bottle had clearly had some faked fingerprints put on it. So I surmised at that point that I have no idea what my notes are. There's so many other. There it is. Quentin Fogg, Montague DePleach, art value, poison. Okay. But, this is so strange. I've written done by not poisoner. Yeah, whoever put the prints on the beer bottle couldn't have been the poisoner because they didn't know how the poison was given. They were trying to make it look like a suicide to protect someone, but they didn't know how the poison worked. The fact that that was Caroline means she didn't give him the poison because she didn't know where the poison had come from and she didn't know how to set up a frame job. She was trying to protect someone. Presumably, that's also why she was perfectly happy to go to jail in the end, or perfectly happy to say, yes, I owned the poison, yes. She's already making steps to cover someone else who she thought did the actual crime. That might explain why she ended up going to prison for it without real, anger against it. Maybe it was Angela, the sister, who killed him. Who else would a sister want to protect? Okay, but what we had was that there was a glass on the scene, and that's where the poison was. Oh, God, I can't remember if I took notes about the exact layout of how that all was. Okay, I didn't take a note of it, but at some point, it said that the poison was in the glass.
Yes.
But there was only one glass. And you, Cecilia, you're not awake yet, I'm not talking to you yet. Cecilia says they never even figured out what happened with that other glass. There was other shattered glass somewhere. Okay, which could be like an original glass he was drinking from that was like thrown away and then a new glass put down that had the poison that was prepared earlier. Here's one I poisoned earlier. Maybe. I'm going to get a bit more information. This is all happening in the Battery Garden. Battery, for people who are confused, like I might have been at some point, Battery in this case being like cannons.
Yeah, like an old
It's a part of an old fortification on the side of this island.
It's not an island, but sure.
Are they on an island?
No, they're near water, but it's not an island.
Everything near water is an island. Islands can just get big.
Everything's an island.
Everything's an island. What, you go, like, I'm in Kenya. Kenya's not an island. Have you seen Afro-Eurasia? It's got water all around it. So, deal with it. It's just a really big island.
It's not an island unless you can all stand on one side and jump and it tips over.
Oh, so you're saying Australia's not an island?
Have we ever tried?
Good point. No, all of Australia is on one side. We all basically live on one side. Okay. She's saying there was another bottle. Okay, I've already forgotten all the details. Let's snap back in. Cecilia, there was shattered glass. Where was the shattered glass?
Somewhere on the path, not far from the Battery Garden. I don't remember any details or if they made any sort of conclusion, but I do remember the police being flummoxed.
Okay, police flummoxed. As in they couldn't tell what it was?
I'm sure there's someone better to ask than me.
Yeah. I'll call the police. I'll look at some old reports and things.
I don't think police write down, I don't know, question mark.
Yeah, I'll call the police. Maybe I'll ask DePleach. DePleach was defense, right? He would want to be up on that stuff. Yeah. I'll call DePleach after this. Okay. Cecilia, you've spent this whole time thinking that your friend killed her husband. She didn't. They didn't botch their testing. You're just against changing your mind because you feel guilty for all the hateful things you've said about her.
Hateful?
Yep, I've decided. But she was innocent. She was covering for someone.
She was a wonderful person.
I think she was. She thought somebody else had done this poisoning. She suspected who had done it, and she was trying to cover up what they had done. When she saw her husband poisoned, her brain went straight to, oh no, blank, blank, blank did this. I need to cover this up. Who's blank, blank, blank? That's what my question is. Not to you, but to myself. It's got to be Angela. But I don't have proof of that. You said he was nice to Angela. He was never...
Of course, their relationship was, as far as they go, fine. He wasn't about to be overly cruel to a child like her. She was young and fun-loving. Of course, she enjoyed her pranks.
Oh, maybe she thought it was a prank. Hemlock in your drink. You got pranked. You got locked. She might also have been. It may have been like a recurring circle of sisterly protection. You're mean to my sister. I'll hemlock your drink. My sister hemlocked your drink. I better make it seem like a suicide so my sister doesn't get in trouble. And it's this. Look, in a darker murder, maybe this does get really dark. There could be terrible things happening between the husband and the 15-year-old sister of the. I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to say something fishy is happening here.
The idea of something fishy going on around Angela is, in my mind, outrageous.
Yeah, why don't you tell me about Angela? Can you give me some Angela context? All I know about her is that she's a 15-year-old girl.
She certainly isn't anymore.
That she was a 15-year-old girl 19 years ago?
16 years ago.
16 years ago. So she's a 31-year-old girl. Tell me about Angela.
Well,
She's on my list of pigs. That's good. Tell me about Angela.
Well, I started working there when I was 48. She was 13. She was very clever. She seemed like she had quite a good character, but she was undisciplined, and she could be quick-tempered at times. That being said, as far as my job went, it was an absolute pleasure to teach her, and from what I hear about what she has done with her life, I am exceptionally proud to have been part of that.
What has she done with her life? Did she get roast beef?
Excuse me?
Did she get none? Did she go to market?
Did
she go wee all the way home?
She's...
Tell me about her life.
I believe she's some sort of geography lecturer and explorer of some degree.
Oh, that's so cool. If she did it, I'm not putting her away. Geography/exploring.
Now, I will say, as the time passed, she did become more restless, problematic, in a completely normal teenage way.
Yeah, sure.
There was nothing extraordinary about what was going on. Carolyn did spoil her.
Oh, in particular ways or just in general?
Oh, was just overly permissive, and if Amias ever tried to set boundaries, Angela, well, let's just say she would know that she could always rely on Carolyn taking her side. That would cause some of the friction.
Interesting. A side she may have taken. Now, if she thought Angela did the poisoning, that doesn't mean Angela did do the poisoning. It means that Carolyn thought Angela did the poisoning. I don't think in any way I've solved this or cracked this case.
The largest problem that I would say that occurred, the biggest conflict that occurred that I recall through childhood, was that Amias, after some escalation in Angela's pranking, suggested that she go to school. That she go to boarding school.
Oh, as opposed to receiving her education from you.
Exactly.
Presumably. Okay.
So she was going to be presumably sent away.
That was a decision made close to his death?
Reasonably so. It wasn't the first time that it had been threatened, but yes, it was a confirmed decision, extremely close to his death. I recall they were talking about it, perhaps even that very day.
Ooh, okay. And she was against this, presumably?
Here's the thing. Yes and no. I get the feeling that perhaps she wasn't all that opposed to the idea in general, but because it was Amias throwing it at her seemingly as a punishment, she had to fight against it. She had to say no. It was something that she couldn't allow and didn't want.
A punishment? For something specific that she did, or just in her general...
It was, like I said, an escalation of these pranks. I don't remember which
That's
one
right,
precisely.
She was pranking him.
Yes.
Do you have any examples for these pranks? Any specifics?
For instance...
poisoning his glass with hemlock?
No. For instance, he hated slugs. There was a time when she put slugs in his bed.
Okay, slugs. Metal slugs.
Which is worse? Which would you rather find lying in your bed?
Probably the metal slugs. Like, that's fine.
It's weird. It might be a threat.
Yeah.
But it's less immediate.
Okay, sorry. Slugs. Yep, slugs. Anything else?
No, that's the main one that comes to
Okay, I'll
mind.
just say slugs, etc.
And of course, Angela tried to persuade Carolyn to take her side and force Amias not to send her away.
But Carolyn couldn't convince him?
Actually, it was I who convinced Carolyn that it was a good idea.
Oh,
Just in case you were getting any ideas that perhaps I was angry with Amias for this decision.
Okay.
And yes, it would mean that I wouldn't have a position there anymore. But by that time, as a 15-year-old girl, a school socialization environment was exactly what she probably needed at that point.
You're better hanging out with, like, than hanging out with the Blakes or whatever.
She was quite close with Meredith Blake, but she did need the stimulation of more minds and more community. It would help her become a better person, and I argue that it did. In fact, very quickly after the events took place, Carolyn insisted that Angela would get sent away so that she would be shielded from all of the court proceedings and such.
Yeah, that's fair. So she did end up going to boarding school?
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Mm.
My note, I've just written in brackets husband N next to someone.
Husband N?
Yeah, I've written Lady Dittisham,
Uh-huh.
who was there.
Yeah.
In brackets, husband N.
She's had multiple husbands. Is N a number?
Oh no, Elsa became Lady Dittisham. Elsa Greer is
husband
Lady Dittisham.
name?
No, yeah, husband and lots of husbands.
Okay.
This is one of her husbands. She is now Lady Dittisham, but Elsa is the one. Okay,
Gotcha.
That's all right, everybody. I'm back on. You said that she was close with Meredith.
Yes, I believe so. He was a neighbor, and she spent a lot of time. She was a passionate reader, much like him. She enjoyed cycling and tree climbing, which got her all across the grounds and occasionally on their grounds.
Did you know if she had a relationship with Philip, Meredith's brother?
Oh, significantly less so, I'm sure. He doesn't seem the type, and he is around much less. He is what we call a city boy.
Now, obviously the other sort of character in the scene, the other little pig, if you will, much like you, the other sour-faced pig was Elsa Greer, the Amias's not muse, I suppose, but portrait model for his painting.
That one.
What did you think of Elsa?
Oh, I didn't.
You never thought about it.
Well, I certainly didn't think anything of her. I could come up with a few words, I suppose, if I must.
Please, come up with 4.
Unprincipled.
All right, that's 1.
Amoral.
That's 2.
Young, but old enough to know better.
Was that 3 or was that 3 and 4?
Shameless.
Wonderful.
Oh, I can keep going. I've got plenty. Let's just say that Amias's death was entirely her fault.
Because you thought she was having an affair with Amias?
She was certainly having an affair with Amias.
How publicly?
Yes, it was no secret that this was what he would do, but she made it very clear the day before that her intentions were serious.
That she wanted to marry him.
Exactly.
Oh, there was a divorce in the wings, wasn't there?
That was the shtick of the announcement that was made the previous day, the day before the murder.
Yeah, let me... Cecilia, take a break. Take a break from resisting, Cecilia. Let me check my notes again. What did I know about this? Quentin Fogg says that 2 witnesses said that Carolyn Crail said, "I'll kill you if you divorce me!" And that Amias wanted a divorce. I wonder who those 2 witnesses were. Did you hear Carolyn talk? Oh, you're back, Cecilia.
Mm.
Did you hear Carolyn talk about the idea of a divorce? I heard some people say that she said, and I quote, "I'll kill you if you divorce me."
Oh, certainly not. I do know that there were many problems the day before. I was not at this lunch where apparently it was quite explosive and these revelations came out.
You weren't there.
Correct. But then after that, Carolyn made a comment to me that seemed like she was under stress. She seemed exhausted, but she told me that the plan was to behave as normal.
Oh, Carolyn said this?
Yes,
The plan is to behave as normal.
It felt like she was holding herself together. Let's see, then after that, all of the guests, they went off to Meredith's place for something or another. I didn't see them till dinner. And Angela threw a tantrum about boarding school that night. I think she even threw something at Amias. I left the dinner because I would have to scold her and bring her in line for that, and Carolyn still seemed upset. I considered visiting her in her room, but I thought that I might bother her. I should have. She might have confided in me better. But no, I wasn't actually there for the lunch, so I don't know how.
Okay.
Explicit.
Do you know who
statements
was there
were.
at the lunch? I'm assuming it was the rest of the pigs.
Yes.
Amias.
I'm taking
Elsa,
your comments in stride, but yes, they were all there.
Caroline, Meredith, Philip, Angela. Just everyone other than you. Why am I even talking to you? Is it just because you gave me information that cracked the case wide open?
This is how you feel about the staff?
You know what, Cecilia? You were incredibly helpful for this investigation. There's probably more help you could be of me, but I've asked you what you thought about all the
I
people
can keep
there.
coming up with some adjectives for Elsa.
No.
trust me.
You had enough Elsa adjectives.
She grew up rich. You'd assume that she'd had an education. She could not hold an intellectual conversation to save her life.
Ooh,
Even Angela
dumb.
thought she was stupid.
Because Angela was so dumb. Interesting. I got to talk to more pigs. Okay. I think I leave. I think I'm done. I don't think I have any more questions for Cecilia.
Okay.
I walk away and I muse upon what I've learned. Basically, I've learned, locked in, Carolyn didn't do it. But also, Carolyn was probably trying to protect who she thought did it. Now, she may have thought maybe the poison in the glass was like the next step above slugs in a bed. Slug in a bed, poison in a glass. We know that Angela was friends with Meredith, very able to get the poison, if Meredith was the poison haver. Especially if Carolyn is then saying, oh, yes, I definitely, it was my poison, I killed him. Makes so much sense when you're covering for your sister. Being sent away to boarding school does not seem like enough, but the idea of one sister protecting another while the other protects the other while the other protects the other in an infinite loop of sisterhood makes some sense to me. But again, it could just be that Carolyn assumed that Angela did it, but Angela didn't, right? And this is the terrible tragedy of the situation, that Carolyn made the wrong call, and we could have put Philip Blake away for the entire time. A man I know nothing about. He's a city boy. Elsa just seems annoying. Doesn't seem like she had any reason to kill him. It could also be that this whole divorce thing was all in her head, that she was like saying, he's leaving you for me, and Amaya's just like, yeah, that's what I'm doing, dummy. And Carolyn knew it wasn't act normal, because he's not leaving me for her. She's the flavor of the month girl. I've done this before. It's nothing. She just thinks it's something. And maybe Amaya was like, yeah, of course I'm not going to marry you, you dummy. And she poisoned him. She is impetuous. That's not a word.
Impetuous?
Impetuous. Contemptuous.
Tempestuous?
Tempestuous. Maybe she was like, if you're not going to marry me, you're not going to live to see the morrow.
Oh, it was actually her who said, I'll kill you before I let another woman have you.
I'll see a...
It was just everyone made a mistake there. Whoops.
I'll kill 1,000 Amayases before I see this company die. So it could have been something there. There's so many little blonkuses and blunkuses. What I feel like I want to follow up on is this mystery glass. And also, I want to find out about this lunch. I think the circumstances of the death I'm fairly up to speed with. At least I need to talk to someone about the lunch. Maybe what I should be doing, obviously I could talk to Angela. She might even know what an island is. And that'd be a great help to me. I could talk to Angela. I feel like I'll be breaking the news to Angela that Carolyn thought she did it and was trying to keep her safe, and then she'll feel really sad about it and break down and won't be the killer. I know nothing about Philip Blake, and he seems kind of boring, so he might be the best one to talk to about this lunch. Because he's just like a guy. He's just like some guy. But I want to find out about this glass first. So can I give a quick beep, 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 brr, 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 brr. Operator. Can I talk to Quentin Fogg? No, wait. Meredith. No, wait. What's the name of the guy? No, you know the guy. Operator, you know the guy. I talked to him before. Yeah, Montague Depleach. Can I talk to Montague Depleach, please?
Oh, God, what was my voice?
That's probably right.
It's this. Someone had a voice like this.
It's been a long time since we recorded those episodes. Mr. Depleach. Esquire.
Thank you.
I have a question for you. I was recently talking to someone. I'm not going to say who. And it was brought to my attention that in the investigation, I'm talking about the murder of Elias Crail, by the way. I'm sure you get 100 calls a day about various investigations that happened 16 years ago. I heard about a confounding piece of glass that the police didn't know what to make of.
Oh, let me think. Right, this does sound familiar, that we tried to push for further investigation into that, but the police completely gave up on
Broken glass on a battery
that.
path.
Yes, they could not identify what object it had come from. Something small and delicate, distinctly not a drinking glass.
Okay, wonderful. Mystery broken glass equals small,
Quite small.
delicate, not a drinking glass. Is there any capacity in both your understanding, Mr. DePleach, and my own, as to if you had a tiny little vial, the littlest vial in the world, it could store enough hemlock to kill a man? Could this have been the hemlock container that was used to poison the glass? I don't think it would be, but it's in the realm of possibility.
Conceivably, I suppose. I can't find a reason to say no to that, but we already found the bottle.
Yeah, we had the bottle and we had the glass, so it's fine, I suppose. But just like the capacity, like go to the bottle, fill a tiny little vial with poison, and then take that to a glass, and then like leave the bottle where. I don't think it means anything.
In theory, yes, but that's not what happened.
Well, I mean, you don't know. You know there was poison in a glass and there was poison in a jar.
I don't.
You don't know if
have
that
time for
poison
this.
was ever in a different jar on the way. Okay, thank you, Mr. DePleach. I'm going to hang up now. Bye.
Oh, he's already long since hung up.
Well, I'll keep talking.
Anyone's eavesdropping.
I got
hung
the
up
last
on
word. Okay. I don't know. I haven't heard of a small, delicate glass object, but maybe I will. Maybe there'll be someone who's like, you know the twist in this mystery. Someone will be like, I had an ancient glass artifact that held the spirit of a poisoning demon, and that'll have been gone into someone else who caused the poisoning. Okay. Glass, small, delicate. Don't know what to do about that, but I now know what to sort of be on the lookout of. Like, I didn't know if this was way too big to be a glass, way too small to be a glass. I now have some sort of ideal trinket that I'm looking to fit into this gap, but I don't have one. I need to talk to another pig.
Let's get through them.
Quick query. Cecilia, did she go to market, stay home, have roast beef, have none, or go wee all the way home? I think, because she went to go and get a doctor, she went wee all the way home. Done. I've locked it in.
She didn't even make it back to the house.
Well, that's beside the point.
All right.
Okay.
This is just the side mystery of figuring out which is which.
Which is which.
Yeah.
I have to get those right at the end for bonus points.
Yep.
That's after the credits roll, I can unlock another puzzle. Okay. I would like to talk, because I know nothing about him. I would like to talk to Philip Blake. Do I have contact details for Philly
You can
D?
easily acquire them. His name is reasonably easy to find. The Blakes are a quite successful family, and he is a successful finance man.
I will put a little note next to his name. Finance man.
So you're able to find his house.
I ring the buzzer.
A manservant, opens the door for you and says, Mr. Blake will be with you presently. He is just changing after golf.
Changing into what?
A more suitable set of clothes.
Yeah, that seems
Sir,
fair.
please, to the drawing room.
I'll go to the drawing room.
Moments later, a man walks in, 50, 60 years old. He seems jovial. He looks like he's in a good mood. Bit pudgy, a little bit, I wouldn't say suspicious, but he's definitely trying to analyze you, figure out who you are and what you're doing here. But he seems like life has been pretty good to him financially, and that he's enjoying his time.
This piggy had roast beef. Okay, he's got roast beef. I'm putting a note. Roast beef, baby. If roast beef isn't financial success, I don't know what it is. Mr. Blake, I presume.
Ah, yes, that's me.
My name is Bill.
Bill.
Do I have a full name?
Good to meet you, sir.
I've occasionally been
It
Bill
doesn't
Billingham.
matter.
I'll be Bill Billingham.
You know, I share a surname with many other people. I feel that first names really make all the difference.
My name is Bill. I'm doing an investigation.
Oh, like detective stuff?
Yeah, like detective stuff.
Okay.
What do you mean? What do you got a problem with detective stuff?
No, not a problem. Of course, it's just, well, most crimes are pretty obvious, aren't they?
One would think that if one were a fool.
You think most crimes...
No,
okay.
most crimes are pretty obvious. I don't
Thank
solve
you.
most crimes. I solve the difficult ones. Most crimes, they get solved when the person says, I did it. But this is a crime where someone may have said they did it, but then they said they didn't do it, and I believe the latter.
Oh, that's curious. All right, well, what can I do?
Where were you at lunch 16 years ago, the day before the death of Amias?
Oh, I see where you're going. with
Yeah,
this.
I know. I'm so sorry I'm bringing up the Amias murders.
Murders?
Nah, there's only one, but it sounds more fun this way.
Well, I can't say I'm chuffed about this being dragged up again, but what can you do? People like this sort of thing, don't they?
I'm so sorry to have to drag it out again. I want to talk to you about what you can remember from that time.
Well, I mean, this, like I've said, this one is quite obvious. It was a big foray of women's jealousy at one another.
Oh, you think it's obvious? Who do you think did it?
What do you mean?
Who do you
Who do I
think
think did it?
Who do you think did it?
It was Carolyn. They got her quite
Interesting.
quickly.
I think you'll find, based on evidence that I have attained through my investigations, it wasn't Carolyn.
Oh, this is outrageous. She's fooled another one.
Wasn't Carolyn. I know this for a fact. An unshakable fact in the depths of my soul that Carolyn is innocent. I'd give you the evidence, but I don't think you'd be smart enough to comprehend it.
Always think this about Carolyn, don't they? That's why they didn't end up hanging her, because the jury thought it just didn't seem quite right, did it? Even though they had no choice but to know that she was guilty.
You fool.
Nobody ever understood the sort of person that she was.
I understood. I understand now. You don't understand, Mr. Blake, but maybe you can
Outrageous.
convince me.
I have known the Krails for years upon years. Longer than anyone else
What, did I
involved,
call
except for
them
my
cranes
brother.
before? Have I been calling them crane the entire time?
No, you haven't. You've been getting it right.
Okay. Well, in my head, I got it wrong. Even if my words spoke the truth. My mind betrayed me. Yeah, you've known the Krails for a long time.
I grew up alongside Amias, and Carolyn entered our lives in our late teens, early 20s, depending on whose age you're talking about.
Sure. Okay, so you have a good a good insight into these people's characters.
Absolutely, I do.
That feels like
And you know what? Carolyn, for one thought, she was sweet, innocent. She had a bit of a frail look that made people want to be chivalrous around her, but that was not her. She had her charms, yes, but she was calculating. She was scheming, and she had a wicked temper.
interesting.
You know what she did when she was younger, right? When she was a teenager?
What she did when she was young? No, I have no idea. What did she do?
You haven't heard about her and her sister?
Oh, I'm so intrigued by her and her sister. Please give me the goss.
When her sister was a tiny, tiny baby, Carolyn was 19. She was jealous of the baby.
That's crazy for a 19-year-old.
She tried to kill her.
Oh.
Thank you for listening to Solve This Murder. To submit your own guesses for whodunit, send an email to solvethismurderpod@gmail.com. We read every theory we're sent and award the greatest sleuth with a place on our wall of detectives. To support the show, you can sign up for our Patreon and receive weekly bonus episodes, monthly videos, and full access to all parts of new Solve This Murder mysteries on day one. Thanks to all our patrons for supporting us. Thanks to Advanced Sagebrush and Shootouts for our theme music. And thanks again to all of you for listening.